When I passed out at the office, the hospital called my parents. They didn't come. 3 days later, still connected to all these machines, I finally charged my phone and saw what they were really up to. My sister had tagged me in a photo. Her beaming face was right there under a picture of all of them. "Family day, so much better without the negativity," the caption said. Those words hurt more than the needle in my arm. I didn't send a message. I didn't even cry. I just sat there watching the number of likes go up, wondering when family became about putting on a show instead of actually caring. Then, for days after that, my screen lit up with 74 missed calls and one text from my dad that just said, "We need you." That's when things shifted forever, just not in the way they thought they would. I used to think being constantly tired was just the price of being reliable. At Nova Solutions, the projects were huge and the deadlines were always tight. I was always the last one to leave, the one who made sure everything got done. My colleagues said my dedication was intimidating. They never understood it wasn't ambition, it was pure survival. Every hour I worked wasn't for me. It was for the people at home who were always one step away from another crisis. My dad, Richard, hadn't had a steady job since the economic downturn. He called it a rough patch, but a decade feels like a permanent situation. My mom, Clara, said he just needed support, but what he really needed was someone else's income. Mine. My sister Jessica, the family's social media star, was constantly starting new ventures. A lifestyle blog, a yoga channel, a line of handmade soaps. Each one failed quicker than the one before. My help usually came as a fast money transfer labeled loan or just until payday. And my younger sister, Chloe, still in art school, liked to think she was the calm one. She never fought, she just quietly asked for money and then conveniently forgot to pay it back. From a distance, we looked like the perfect family. All those smiling holiday photos with matching outfits and forced grins. Online, Jessica called us the Reynolds, living proof that family is everything. She posted that right after I'd covered my mom's car payment and the late fee on their house loan. I guess love comes with a bill. My grandpa Frank was the only one who ever saw the real picture. He'd been a financial advisor for over 40 years and could read a person's character like a balance sheet. "You can't measure affection in dollars and cents," he told me once. "But you'll know when you're being taken advantage of." He gently warned me that my parents had started to see me as their safety net. I didn't want to believe him. I was taught that being loyal meant always saying yes. So I kept saying yes. I paid for things I shouldn't have, I smiled when I wanted to scream. The honest truth is, I was terrified to stop. I was scared that if I ever said no, they would finally show me how little I was really worth to them. The night I collapsed, I was still at my desk at 11 p.m., staring at project plans I couldn't even see clearly anymore. My chest had felt tight for days, my vision sometimes going blurry. I told myself it was just stress. It wasn't. But even then, as I was shutting down my computer, my phone buzzed with a text from Jessica. "Can you spot me for rent? I swear I'll pay you back next month." I typed out a reply, erased it, then typed it again. Okay. That was the last thing I did before the world went dark. The hospital lights were so bright and sterile, like they were trying to wash away what had happened. When I woke up, everything was fuzzy. The ceiling, the tubes, the nurse asking if I knew my name. I didn't answer right away. I was too busy trying to remember what day it was. My phone was dead. My chest ached. The machine next to me beeped steadily, a sound that matched something broken inside me. When the doctor came in, his voice was calm but detached. "Cardiac episode. You're very fortunate your colleague knew what to do." Fortunate. That word stuck with me. Because luck shouldn't be what saves you. Family should. They told me they'd call my emergency contacts, my parents, but no one picked up. "We left multiple voicemails," the nurse said, her tone careful, as if the truth itself was something that could cause more pain. The hours dragged on. No calls, no visits, nothing. I watched the light move across the room until it was gone again. On the third day, a nurse brought me my phone, now charged. I knew I shouldn't, but I opened it. The first thing I saw wasn't a worried message. It was a notification. You've been tagged in a photo. I tapped it, my hands unsteady. The picture loaded slowly. A bright day, a calm lake. My whole family was there, laughing around a picnic blanket. My mom was holding up a plate of food. My dad had a drink in his hand. Chloe was making a peace sign next to Jessica, whose caption was right below their happy faces. Family day, so much better without the negativity. For a second, I forgot how to breathe. The monitor beeped faster, keeping time with my racing heart. The irony was almost beautiful. They had written me out of the family while pretending to celebrate it. I zoomed in on their faces, all of them smiling, completely at ease. No one looked worried. No one looked like they were missing a daughter. A nurse walked by and asked if I was all right. I said, I'm fine. I think I finally understand everything. I didn't post a comment. I didn't call them out. I just looked at the picture until my screen went dark and I saw my own reflection staring back at me. Pale, exhausted, but for the first time, completely calm. Not a peaceful calm, but the calm that comes when you finally see the truth. By the fourth day, I could walk a little, slow and shaky, pulling the 4-stand along with me. The doctor said it would take time to recover. He didn't know the biggest part of my recovery had nothing to do with my heart. Then one morning, my phone went crazy. 74 missed calls. A text from my dad. We need you. Call us now. No, are you okay? No, sorry, just a demand. A panic. I read it twice, and the sheer absurdity of it almost made me laugh out loud. They vanished when I was at my lowest, and now they were ordering me to rescue them. But I didn't call back. Not this time. I scrolled through my contacts and found a different name. Grandpa Frank. I held my finger over his name for a second before tapping it. He answered on the second ring. I already know, he said, his voice quiet. You don't need to say a word. It was the first time in so long that someone had talked to me like I was a person, not a paycheck. Grandpa Frank arrived less than an hour later, wearing his old jacket and his usual unreadable expression. He didn't hug me, he wasn't that type, but he sat down in the chair next to my bed like he belonged there. So, he said, glancing at the heart monitor, they finally pushed you past your limit, didn't they? I gave a weak smile. Looks that way. He didn't ask for the story. He already knew it. That was how he was. He understood everything without needing it spelled out. He stayed all day, talking to the nurses, double-checking my insurance. When the billing person mentioned some outstanding charges, he didn't blink. He just pulled out his tablet and started typing. What are you doing? I asked him. Getting the full picture, he said. Before you cut any ties, you have to know where every single one is connected. We went through it all. My bank accounts, the automatic payments, the insurance for my mom's car, the shared credit lines. I felt sick as the list got longer and longer. Every month, money was leaving my account like a slow leak. Jessica's personal loan, Chloe's tuition help, my mom's car, even an electricity bill in my name for a house I hadn't lived in for years. How did I not see this? I whispered. You believed it was love, he said simply. They believed it was your duty. Completely different equations. That night, with the machines humming softly and the hospital quiet, Grandpa Frank showed me how to turn off the money flow. One by one. Not to be cruel, but to save myself. He made a list of every payment, wrote it all down, and handed it to me like it was a guide to freedom. Tomorrow, he said, we start with the bank. I barely slept. I kept seeing that photo, their smiles, the sunny day, and hearing the steady beep of the monitor like a timer running out. The next morning, I called my bank from the hospital phone. The person who answered knew my voice. I'd always been a good, dependable customer. By lunchtime, the automatic transfers were canceled. Jessica's access was removed. Chloe's rent payment was stopped. My mom's car insurance was taken off my account. Every click of the mouse felt like taking a full breath for the first time in years. By that evening, my phone started buzzing again. First, a text from my mom. "We just found out what happened. Why didn't you tell us you were sick?" Then one from Chloe, "Can we talk? This is all a big misunderstanding." I didn't answer any of them. Grandpa Frank sat nearby, reading his paper and pretending not to notice. "Feeling bad yet?" he finally asked. "Yes," I admitted. "A little." "It'll fade," he said, folding his newspaper. "Guilt is the entrance fee to a free life." The next day, I was released. Grandpa Frank drove me to my apartment. It felt strange and small, like the walls were closing in. I turned my phone off, unplugged it, and just looked out the window for a long time. Then it vibrated again. Another message from my dad. "This is urgent. Call me right now. Everything is falling apart here." For a second, I almost felt bad for him. Almost. They had taken my silence as a sign I was giving in. They didn't realize my silence was the sound of me taking back my life. 2 days later, I was at Grandpa Frank's house in the suburbs, a cozy place that always smelled like coffee and old books. He had his dining table covered in files and folders, laid out like a battle plan. The sun was coming through the window, lighting up stacks of paper. Bank statements, loan agreements, insurance documents. The entire paper trail of my life. "Every life has a record," he said. "Yours is just written in bank statements." He wasn't wrong. When we were finished, the reality was undeniable. I hadn't just been helping them. I had been funding their entire lifestyle. Without my money, the whole perfect image they had built would crumble. And it did. The calls multiplied. My voicemail was full of messages from my mom. Her voice was sweet but with an edge underneath. "Honey, we had no idea you were in the hospital. You should have told us." Then, softer, "Your dad is really stressed about the mortgage." Stressed, not sorry. Then came Jessica's texts. Pictures of her empty bank account, sad-faced emojis, and one message that said, "If you don't help me, I'm going to lose my apartment." I looked at it for a long time before I typed back one word. "Okay." Then Chloe tried. "I'm not like them," she wrote. "Please don't treat me the same way." I almost laughed. She had said the exact same thing last year when I co-signed her car loan. Grandpa Frank watched me scroll through the messages, the corner of his mouth twitching like he'd seen it all before. "They're not calling because they miss you," he said. "They're calling because the bank account is closed." He was right again. The next morning, I saw a car parked outside my building. It was my dad, sitting in the driver's seat, just staring up at my window. He didn't call. He didn't come to the door. He just sat there waiting, like a bill collector expecting a payment. I didn't go down. That afternoon, a new message came in. "You're tearing this family apart. I hope you're happy with what you're doing. Tearing this family apart." I read it twice, just to hear how strange it sounded. I showed it to Grandpa Frank. He just nodded. "That sentence tells you everything you need to know about them." And then came the video. Jessica posted it that night. A slow, sad tour of our family home, now mostly empty. The camera moved over blank walls and half-packed boxes, her voice shaking. "They're taking everything from us," she cried. And she just let it happen. The video then showed a picture of me, cropped from an old family photo. The caption read, "Sometimes family isn't really family." The comments went wild. People felt sorry for her, they felt angry at me. Other influencers shared it. My social media was flooded with messages from people I didn't know, calling me a terrible person. Grandpa Frank watched the whole video without a word, then stood up, took out his phone, and made a few calls. In 2 days, we had all the paperwork. The mortgage documents, the records of missed payments, the late fees. They had used the house to pay off Jessica's credit card debt and to fund Chloe's failed online jewelry store. I didn't even have to tell the world the truth. The numbers did it for me. Even so, I filed a report for fraud. Grandpa Frank and his lawyer friend helped me prepare a legal letter. A cease and desist. No contact, no using my name, no more financial claims. We sent it to each of them by registered mail. For the first time in years, I slept a whole night. I woke up the next morning to my phone buzzing over and over. I looked through the peephole and saw Chloe outside, arguing with the building manager. She wasn't on the list to get in. I saw her walking back and forth, phone to her ear, probably talking to Jessica. I didn't go out. Later, Grandpa Frank came over with a thick envelope. "They've done something foolish," he said. Inside were printed emails between my parents and a lawyer. I read them once, then again. They were looking into getting legal control over me. I read the subject line out loud. Petition for temporary guardianship. Grandpa Frank let out a long breath. "They tried this with your cousin a long time ago. It didn't work then, either. But this time, it might have worked if I hadn't already moved all my money into a trust he helped me set up. If my doctor hadn't written a letter saying I was perfectly capable. If my job hadn't confirmed I was on medical leave, not fired. By the time they filed their paperwork, ours was already at the courthouse. Their case was over before it started. But they didn't quit." Jessica posted another video, this time crying. Her makeup was running down her face as she talked to the camera. "Mental health issues can be so hard to see," she said. "Sometimes the person you love the most pushes you away. We're just trying to save her before it's too late." Her followers filled the comments with support. A hashtag about praying for me started to get attention. But the internet forgets fast. Someone found her old family day without the negativity post and put it right next to her crying video. The new caption asked, "So where was all this concern when she was actually in the hospital?" Public opinion changed overnight. Screenshots started appearing. People found Jessica's old sponsored posts from the week I was in the hospital. Her old tweets making fun of difficult family members were dug up. Chloe's online store was flooded with negative reviews. My dad's business clients started leaving. Even my mom's social media was full of strangers asking tough questions. By the end of the week, the family's perfect online world had collapsed faster than their finances. Grandpa Frank handed me a cup of coffee. "You see," he said. "You didn't have to fight. The truth did all the work for you." That night, a single text came from my mom. "Please, can we just talk?" I looked at it for a long time, my thumb resting on the screen. Then I turned my phone over and put it down. Across the room, Grandpa Frank was reading. "You all right?" he asked. "Yes," I said quietly. "I'm just finished." But they weren't. The next morning, a delivery person brought another envelope. This one wasn't from a lawyer. It was from my dad himself. A letter written by hand. He'd written it after the guardianship failed. In messy writing, it said, "If anything happens to me, everything I have goes to the family members who stay together. Emma is cut off until she makes things right." I couldn't help but laugh. It was the same old trick, just written on fancy paper. I showed it to Grandpa Frank. "They still think I want something from them." He gave a small smile. "They're not used to someone leaving the table while there's still money on it." That evening, I wrote my final answer. Not a text, not an email, but a letter from my lawyer. It was short, clear, and absolute. I give up all claims to any inheritance and I demand no further contact. I signed it, sealed the envelope, and gave it to Grandpa Frank. "Please file this on Monday," I said. He nodded. "What will you do now?" I looked out the window. The rain had stopped. I think I'll just rest for a while, I said. Maybe somewhere far away from here. For the first time in a very long time, I actually meant it. 2 weeks later, the weather had cleared. Grandpa Frank and I packed up the things that really mattered to me, one bag, my computer, and a couple of old pictures that still felt like they were mine, and we drove west toward the mountains. He said he wanted to see the peaks before the snow came. I didn't mind. I just watched the road go by. Mile after mile, the world finally got quiet. The little house we rented was near a line of tall pine trees. No loud noises, no cars, no family. Just silence, real and pure. I started working from home for Nova Solutions, fewer hours, less pressure. My days began with coffee and ended with the sound of the wind in the trees. Sometimes I'd still get a message, a distant relative asking what happened, or someone online saying they saw the story. I never replied. I let them believe whatever they wanted. My truth didn't need their approval anymore. Grandpa Frank would sit by the window, reading his paper, pretending not to notice that I was finally breathing easy. "You did it, kid," he said one morning. "You got out." I smiled. "It cost me almost everything." He chuckled softly. "That's the sale price for a new life." And he was right. What I got back was worth more than all the forced apologies and fake family photos in the world. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the rescuer, the problem solver, or the daughter who owed everyone something. I was just Emma. Alive, belonging to no one, and finally, completely free. I used to think being quiet meant you lost. That leaving was the same as failing. But now I know silence can be a wall you build for yourself, a kind of quiet strength that doesn't need anyone else to understand it. My family still tries to contact me sometimes, using other people to see if I'll break my silence. I never do. Some stories don't need another page. They just need to be over. If anyone has ever told you that you're selfish for taking care of yourself, I hope you remember this. Choosing your own peace isn't a betrayal. It's how you stay alive. They can keep their perfect posts, their fake tears, their side of the story. I'll keep my quiet mornings, my real smiles, my own life. If any of this felt familiar, if you've ever been called selfish for finally putting yourself first, I want you to know you're not alone. Choosing your own peace isn't a betrayal. It's survival. It's the bravest thing you can do. I truly believe our stories have power, and sharing them can help others feel less alone. So if you've ever had to walk away from someone to find yourself, or if you're just starting that difficult journey, I would be honored to hear about it. Please share your story in the comments below. I read and reply to every single one. Thank you for listening to mine.